Welcome to this tutorial. I'll be showing you how to cut and attach your facing to the lining. So the first thing we'll be doing will be to cut out our facing, and while doing so we'll just make sure we cut out the front line of the front piece to be the exact shape of the facing we will be cutting. That's the most important thing. The facing and the front piece must be exactly the same shape on the front. Then for the other part, you will decide on what shape you want. So as you can see, the shape I took, it is based on decision. Then the remaining part will be where the lining will be contained. The shape of the facing will determine how difficult it will be fixing your lining. So if it is a straight line shape, there will actually be no problem fixing your lining. But for this shape we created that has no particular name, I don't even know the name to give it, it will be very difficult for us to put our lining if we are not technical about it. Now, if you are to cut for both facing, you will fold the lining into two, but we'll be cutting for one facing. So I will just open it up single like that because I want to cut for one facing. And the reason why I'm cutting for one facing, I'll show you, because in the end you have to be sure you're not wasting your lining, because there's a way you cut this stuff and you end up wasting the lining you are to use for the facing. So what I'll do is I'll just place the facing at the edge of the lining like that. So after placing at the edge of the lining, I'll make sure it is at least 1 inch before the edge of the lining. Then I will use my marker to chalk out the exact position of the shape of the facing. I'm talking of the inner shape now. So I'll chalk out the exact shape on the lining. But the technical part of this whole thing is I will not be joining exactly to the line I'm chalking out now, and I'll be explaining that soon. So I'll just make sure I take the shape from the down line to the upper line of that facing you see me making. So as you can see, I've succeeded in creating the shape of that line on my lining. Now I'll pick up my scissors and I'll cut 1/2 inch before that line. I will not exactly cut on that line position. I'll cut 1/2 inch before that line, and the reason is that after sewing you want the shape to be exactly on that line you marked out, because your sewing or your stitching allowance is 1/2 inch. So that is why you are cutting 1/2 inch before the line. So after stitching, the shape of this facing will return back to its original shape after joining the lining to the facing. So after we succeed in cutting it out, we'll go straight to the sewing machine and join. So before then, I'll show you how to join, and it is pretty simple. You just start from the down part. So as you can see, this facing is actually wrong for this lining, so we'll be using the right facing for this lining cut we made just now. After attaching the lining, we will now trim to the shape of the front piece. So after trimming to the shape of the front piece, we will attach it to the front piece. So the way it works is after you attach it to the front piece, you sew only the front line. Then you use your hand needle to help to hold the sewing line. Make sure the back is not facing the front and the front is not facing
the back, and that will be all.